Welcome to Learn English with Lee. I'm very happy you're here today. Many English learners know a lot of vocabulary and grammar, but when they meet someone new, something strange happens. Their mind suddenly becomes very quiet. They don't know what to say, and sometimes the silence feels a little awkward.
Yes, that happens to me a lot. Sometimes I meet someone, and after saying hello, my brain stops working.
You are not alone. This happens to many English learners, and honestly, it even happens to native speakers sometimes. Small talk is a skill. It's not about saying something amazing, it's about saying something simple that keeps the conversation moving.
That's interesting. I always thought small talk had to be clever or interesting.
Not at all. Most small talk is actually very simple. Let me give you an example. Imagine you meet someone at work. A very natural way to start a conversation is with a friendly question. For example, "Hi, how's your day going?"
That sounds very natural.
Yes, and the answer can also be simple. Someone might say, "It's going well, thank you," or "It's been a busy day."
I notice people often say busy day.
Yes, it's a very common small talk phrase. Let's practice a short conversation. "Hi, James. How's your day going?"
It's going well. It's been a little busy today. How about you?
"My day has been good. I had a lot of work, but it's a productive day."
That feels like a very normal conversation.
Exactly. Small talk usually focuses on everyday topics. Nothing too deep, just simple connection. Now let's talk about another common small talk topic, the environment around you. For example, if you are in a cafe, you might say, "This place is really nice."
That feels easy to say.
Yes, and the other person might respond, "Yes, I like the atmosphere here." Then the conversation continues naturally.
So, small talk often starts with something we both see.
Exactly. The environment gives you ideas. Let's imagine you're at an event. You might say, "This event is very crowded today."
And someone might respond, yes, I didn't expect so many people.
Perfect. And now you have a conversation. Small talk is like opening a door. It creates the opportunity for deeper conversation later.
I like that idea. It's not the whole conversation, it's just the beginning.
Exactly. Now let's talk about a very common fear. Many learners worry about awkward silence.
Yes, silence makes me nervous.
But silence is normal in conversation. Even native speakers pause sometimes. The key is knowing how to restart the conversation. For example, you can ask another simple question, like, "So, what do you usually do on weekends?"
That's a good question.
Yes, it invites the other person to share something personal but comfortable. Let's try a role play. "So, James, what do you usually do on weekends?"
I usually watch movies and spend time with friends.
That sounds relaxing. Do you have a favorite movie genre?
I really enjoy science fiction movies.
That's interesting. See how the conversation continues?
Yes, one question leads to another.
Exactly. Now let's explore another useful small talk topic, weather. Some learners think talking about the weather is boring, but in many cultures, it's a very normal conversation starter. For example, "It's really hot today."
That's very true in many places.
Yes, and someone might respond, "Yes, the weather has been very warm lately." Then you could continue with, "I hope it cools down later."
It feels very natural.
Yes, weather conversations are simple and safe. They help people begin talking without pressure. Now let's imagine another real-life situation. You're waiting in line somewhere. You could say, "This line is moving slowly today."
That sounds very realistic.
Yes, and the other person might say, "Yes, it's taking longer than usual." Now you have a conversation partner.
I'm starting to realize something.
What's that?
Small talk is not about perfect English.
Exactly. It's about being friendly and open. Simple sentences are enough. Now let's talk about another important skill, showing interest. When someone shares something, you can react with short phrases like, "That's interesting," "That sounds fun," "That's great."
Those responses keep the conversation friendly.
Yes, let's practice. I'll say something and you respond naturally. "I went hiking last weekend."
That sounds fun. Where did you go?
Perfect response. You showed interest and asked a question.
I see how that keeps the conversation alive.
Exactly. Now imagine you meet someone new at a gathering. You could say, "Hi, I don't think we've met before."
That sounds polite.
Yes, then you can introduce yourself. "Hi, I'm Lee."
And the other person might say, nice to meet you.
Exactly. These simple interactions build connections. Now here's something important to remember. Small talk is not a test. You don't need perfect sentences. You just need to participate. Every conversation gives you practice. Every sentence builds confidence. And the more you practice, the less awkward small talk will feel.
That makes me feel more relaxed already.
Good, because in the next part of our conversation, we're going to explore something many learners struggle with: how to keep a conversation going after the first few sentences, and how to avoid that uncomfortable moment when you don't know what to say next. Let's continue our conversation about small talk. In the beginning, starting a conversation can feel difficult, but many learners discover something interesting. Sometimes starting is not the hardest part. Sometimes the real challenge is continuing the conversation.
Yes, that happens to me a lot. I can say hello, I can ask how are you, but after that, I suddenly don't know what to say.
That's a very common experience. The good news is that conversations usually follow simple patterns. You don't need to invent something new every time. Most conversations grow from three things: a comment, a reaction, and a question.
That sounds simple.
It really is. Let's look at a small example. Imagine someone says, "I watched a really interesting movie yesterday." Your reaction could be, "Oh, really?" Then you ask a question. "What movie did you watch?"
That feels very natural.
Exactly. You reacted first. Then you showed curiosity. That keeps the conversation moving. Now let's try a short practice. I'll say something. You react and ask a question. "I tried a new restaurant last night."
Oh, really? What kind of restaurant was it?
Perfect. That was a great response. Now I can continue the conversation. "I tried a Thai restaurant. The food was amazing."
Then I might say, that sounds great. What dish did you try?
Exactly. You see how the conversation grows step by step.
Yes, it's like building a small bridge between ideas.
That's a beautiful way to describe it. Conversations connect ideas. Now let's talk about another helpful technique: using follow-up questions. Follow-up questions show that you are listening. They also help the conversation feel more natural. For example, someone might say, "I just started a new job." You could ask, "Oh, nice. What kind of job is it?"
That feels like a natural reaction.
Yes, and after the person answers, you can ask another follow-up question. For example, "How do you like it so far?"
So we don't need to change the topic quickly.
Exactly. Stay with the same topic for a moment. Let's practice a short role play. "I just started learning how to cook."
Oh, really? What kind of food are you learning to cook?
Mostly simple dishes like pasta and soup.
That sounds fun. Do you enjoy cooking?
Perfect. That conversation flows very naturally.
I see how follow-up questions make everything easier.
Yes, they show interest and keep the dialogue alive. Now let's talk about another situation. Sometimes the other person gives a short answer. For example, I had a good weekend.
That answer is very short.
Yes, but you can still continue the conversation. You might ask, "What did you do?" That's simple and natural. Let's try it. I had a great weekend.
That's nice. What did you do?
I went hiking with some friends.
That sounds fun. Where did you go hiking?
Excellent. You kept the conversation moving with curiosity. I'm noticing something.
What do you notice?
Most good conversations use very simple questions. Exactly. Questions like, "What did you do? Where did you go? Do you like it? How was it?" These simple questions work in many situations.
That makes conversations feel less stressful.
Yes, you don't need complicated vocabulary. Now let's talk about another useful skill, sharing a little about yourself. Sometimes learners ask many questions but forget to share their own experiences.
Oh, I think I do that.
It's good to ask questions, but conversations are like a tennis match. Both people should speak. For example, someone might say, "I went to the beach last weekend." You could respond, "That sounds nice. I went to the beach last month. It was very relaxing."
So I ask a question and also share something too.
Exactly. Let's practice that. I started going to the gym recently.
That's great. I started exercising more this year too. What kind of workouts do you do?
Excellent. You shared your experience and asked a question. That makes the conversation balanced.
I like that idea.
Now let's talk about another moment that can feel awkward, running out of topics.
Yes, that moment is very uncomfortable.
But there is a simple trick. Use topic transitions. You can gently move to another topic with phrases like, "by the way," or "speaking of that."
Oh, I hear people say, by the way, often.
Yes, it's a natural way to change the subject. For example, we were talking about movies. Then you might say, "By the way, have you watched any good shows recently?"
That feels very natural.
Let's try a small example. I really enjoy hiking.
That sounds fun. By the way, do you like traveling too?
Perfect transition. Now the conversation has a new direction.
This makes conversations feel less scary.
Exactly. You always have options. React, ask a question, share your experience, or change the topic politely. Now let's talk about something many learners worry about, making mistakes while speaking. Sometimes that fear makes people stop talking. But the truth is, mistakes are part of communication. Even native speakers make small mistakes in conversation.
That's comforting to hear.
Yes, people care more about understanding you than judging your grammar. If your message is clear, communication works, and every conversation helps you improve.
That makes speaking feel less intimidating.
Good, because in the next part of our discussion, we're going to explore something that can truly transform your speaking confidence: how to sound more natural and relaxed in English conversations. Let's continue talking about sounding more natural and relaxed in English conversations. Many learners worry about their grammar. They try to build the perfect sentence in their mind before speaking, but while they are thinking, the conversation continues, and sometimes the moment to speak disappears.
Yes, that happens to me often. I start building a sentence in my head, but by the time I'm ready, the topic has already changed.
That's a very common experience. One helpful strategy is to simplify your thoughts. Instead of building a long sentence, start with a short idea. For example, "I agree," or "That's interesting," or "I think so."
Those are very short responses.
Yes, but they keep you in the conversation. Once you respond, you can add more if you want. For example, That's interesting. I didn't know that.
So the key is to respond quickly, even if the sentence is simple.
Exactly. Natural conversations are not perfect. They are fast, relaxed, and sometimes messy. People interrupt, people pause, people change topics, and that's completely normal.
That actually makes me feel less pressure.
Good. Now let's talk about another skill that helps you sound natural: using reaction phrases. Reaction phrases are small expressions people use when they listen. For example, "Oh, really? That's nice. Wow, that's great."
I hear those phrases a lot.
Yes, they show the speaker that you are listening. Let's practice a quick example. "I visited a beautiful beach last weekend."
Oh, really?
Yes, the water was very clear.
That sounds amazing.
Perfect. Those small reactions make conversations feel alive.
Without them, the conversation might feel quiet.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something else that makes conversations smoother: echo questions.
What are echo questions?
Echo questions repeat part of what the other person said. For example, someone says, "I just bought a new car." You might respond, "You bought a new car?"
Oh, like repeating the idea with surprise.
Exactly. It shows interest and encourages the person to continue. Let's try another example. "I'm planning to travel to Japan next year."
You're traveling to Japan?
Yes, I've always wanted to visit.
That sounds exciting.
Perfect. You reacted, asked an echo question, and responded naturally.
I can see how this makes conversations flow more easily.
Yes. Now let's explore another habit that confident speakers have. They pause naturally.
Pause?
Yes. Many learners think pauses are bad. They think silence means failure. But pauses are normal in conversation. Native speakers pause all the time while thinking.
That's true. Sometimes I hear people say, or well.
Exactly. Those are natural thinking sounds. For example, "Well, I think it depends." Or, "That's a good question."
So it's okay to pause and think.
Of course, pauses give your brain time to organize thoughts. Let's practice a small conversation. What kind of music do you like?
I really enjoy relaxing music.
That was a perfect natural pause.
It felt comfortable.
Yes, pauses make conversations feel human. Now let's talk about another useful habit: using simple storytelling.
Storytelling sounds difficult.
It doesn't have to be. A story can be very short. For example, "Yesterday I tried a new cafe."
That's already a story.
Yes, and the other person might ask, "How was it?"
Then I can say, it was really nice. The coffee was great.
Exactly. Stories make conversations interesting. They also give the other person something to respond to.
I like that idea.
Let's try a small storytelling exercise. Tell me something simple that happened recently.
Yesterday, I went for a walk in the park.
That sounds relaxing. Was the weather nice?
Yes, it was sunny and warm.
See how your story created a conversation?
Yes, it felt very natural.
Now let's talk about another important idea: listening carefully. Good conversations are not only about speaking, they are also about listening.
Sometimes when I talk to someone in English, I'm so nervous about my next sentence that I stop listening.
That's very common. But when you truly listen, the conversation becomes easier because the other person gives you ideas for your next question.
That makes sense.
For example, someone might say, "I just started learning photography." You could ask, "Oh, nice. What kind of photos do you like to take?"
The answer gives me the next topic.
Exactly. Listening carefully helps conversations grow naturally. Now let's imagine another real-life situation. You meet someone at a gathering. You start with a simple question. "Hi, how do you know the host?"
We work together at the same company.
"Oh, really? What do you do there?"
I work in marketing.
That sounds interesting. Do you enjoy it?
Yes, I do. I enjoy working with creative projects.
See how the conversation keeps moving?
Yes, each answer creates a new question.
Exactly. Conversations are like a path. Each step leads to another. And the more you practice these simple techniques, reaction phrases, follow-up questions, small stories, and careful listening, the more natural your English conversations will feel.
I can already imagine using these techniques in real life.
That's wonderful to hear, because in the next part of our conversation, we're going to explore another important skill: how to handle awkward moments in conversations and turn them into comfortable, natural communication. Let's talk about something that every English learner experiences at some point: awkward moments in conversations. Maybe you don't understand what someone said. Maybe you forgot a word. Or maybe the conversation suddenly becomes quiet.
Yes, I've experienced all three of those situations.
And that's completely normal. Even native speakers sometimes feel awkward in conversations. The important thing is knowing how to handle those moments calmly.
That sounds helpful, because when something awkward happens, I usually panic a little.
Many learners feel that way, but there are simple phrases that can help you manage these situations smoothly. Let's start with the first situation: not understanding what someone said.
That happens to me when someone speaks very fast.
Yes, speed can make listening difficult, but instead of staying silent, you can ask politely for clarification. For example, you can say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?"
That sounds very polite.
Yes, and another helpful phrase is, "Sorry, I didn't catch that."
I like that one. It sounds natural.
Let's practice a short conversation. "I visited a really amazing museum last weekend."
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Which place did you visit?
Perfect. That response is polite and keeps the conversation moving.
That feels much better than pretending I understood.
Exactly. Pretending can create more confusion later. Now let's talk about another situation: forgetting a word while speaking.
That happens to me all the time.
And it happens to everyone. Even in your native language, you sometimes forget words. The key is not to stop speaking. You can describe the idea instead. For example, imagine you forget the word umbrella. You could say, "the thing people use when it rains."
That's clever.
Yes, communication is about meaning, not perfection. Let's try a small exercise. Imagine you forgot the word bakery. How might you describe it?
Maybe I could say a place where people buy bread and cakes.
Excellent. That description is clear and understandable.
So even if I forget a word, I can still communicate.
Exactly. Now let's talk about another awkward moment: conversation silence.
Yes, silence can feel uncomfortable.
But silence is not always a problem. Sometimes people simply pause to think. However, if you want to restart the conversation, you can use simple questions. For example, "So, what do you usually do in your free time?"
That's a good conversation starter.
Yes, it invites the other person to talk about themselves. Let's try a role play. "So, James, what do you usually do in your free time?"
I enjoy watching movies and reading books.
That sounds relaxing. What kind of movies do you like?
I really enjoy adventure movies.
Perfect. You turned a quiet moment into a new conversation.
That feels much less awkward.
Exactly. Now let's explore another helpful technique: using friendly reactions when the other person speaks. Sometimes the conversation feels awkward because one person speaks and the other person stays very quiet.
Yes, that can feel uncomfortable.
But small reactions help the speaker feel comfortable. For example, "I see. That makes sense. Interesting."
Those are very easy to remember.
Yes, and they show that you are listening. Let's practice. "I recently started learning photography."
Interesting. What kind of photos do you like to take?
That was a perfect response. You reacted and asked a question.
I'm starting to notice something.
What is it?
Good conversations are built from very small pieces.
That's absolutely true. Conversation is not about long speeches. It's about small exchanges. Now let's imagine another real-life moment. You meet someone at a party. You've already talked for a few minutes. Suddenly, the conversation becomes quiet. Instead of feeling nervous, you can gently change the topic. For example, by the way, have you traveled anywhere recently?
That sounds like a natural topic change.
Yes, travel, hobbies, work, and weekend plans are all great conversation topics.
Those feel safe and friendly.
Exactly. Now let's try a longer role play. Hi, James. It's nice to see you again. How have you been?
I've been good, thanks. Work has been a little busy lately.
I understand. What kind of work have you been doing?
I've been working on a new project.
That sounds exciting. Do you enjoy working on projects like that?
Yes, I do. I like learning new things.
That's wonderful. By the way, do you have any plans for the weekend?
I'm thinking about meeting some friends.
That sounds like a great way to relax.
That conversation felt very natural.
Yes, it used simple questions, reactions, and topic changes, and those are the tools that help conversations feel comfortable. So remember this. Awkward moments are not failures. They're simply part of real conversations. What matters is how you respond. Stay calm, use simple phrases, ask friendly questions, and keep the conversation moving.
I feel much more confident about handling awkward moments now.
That's wonderful, because in the final part of our conversation, we're going to talk about something very important: how to build long-term confidence in English speaking and enjoy conversations instead of fearing them. Let's talk about the final and most important idea for improving your English conversations: building long-term confidence. Many learners think confidence comes from knowing more vocabulary or mastering grammar, but real confidence grows from something much simpler. It grows from experience.
Experience?
Yes, every time you start a conversation, you gain experience. Every time you ask a question, you gain experience. Every time you make a mistake and keep speaking, you gain experience. Over time, those small moments change how you feel about English.
I think I felt that before. The more I practice, the less nervous I feel.
Exactly. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Now let's talk about a helpful mindset. Instead of thinking, I hope I don't make mistakes, try thinking, I'm here to communicate.
That feels like a healthier way to think.
Yes, because communication is the real goal of language. If people understand your message, you are already succeeding. Now imagine you are meeting someone new. You greet them with a simple sentence. Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Then you might ask a simple question. What do you like to do in your free time?
I enjoy watching movies and traveling. How about you?
I enjoy reading and going for walks.
That conversation feels relaxed.
Yes, because it focuses on sharing ideas, not perfection. Now let's talk about another habit that builds confidence: celebrating small wins.
What do you mean by small wins?
Small wins are moments like these. You started a conversation. You asked a question. You understood someone's story. You shared your opinion. These moments show progress.
I think learners often ignore those moments.
Yes, many learners only remember their mistakes, but growth happens when we recognize progress. Now imagine something simple. You order coffee in English. You say, "Hi, I'd like a cup of coffee, please."
That's a normal, everyday sentence.
Yes, but that moment is still practice. Every interaction builds your confidence. Now let's imagine another real-life moment. You are talking with a colleague. How was your weekend?
It was great. I spent time with friends. How about yours?
Mine was relaxing. I watched a few movies.
That conversation is very simple.
And that's the beauty of real communication. Simple language connects people. Now let's talk about one final piece of advice. Be patient with yourself. Language learning is a journey. Some days you will feel confident. Some days you might feel nervous again. That is completely normal.
I think many learners need to hear that.
Yes, progress is not always a straight line, But if you continue practicing, you will see improvement, step by step, conversation by conversation. And remember something important. You don't need perfect English to build meaningful connections. You only need the courage to speak.
That's very encouraging.
To everyone listening today, thank you for spending this time with us. We hope today's conversation helps you feel more comfortable speaking English. Start small, stay curious, ask questions, and most importantly, keep speaking.
Because every conversation is a step forward.
And we'll see you again next time, here on Learn English with Lee.